Welcome to our live stream.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
two crazy ketos. And if you're new to our channel, welcome. Here on Two Crazy Ketos, we do different things like recipe videos and we do product reviews. We talk about various keto topics. And every Monday, we go live on Keto Beyond the Couch because life exists beyond the couch.
You can find us in different social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X.
And we have a website, which is twocrazyketos.com, and that's where you're going to find all of our different recipes. Now, we do upload at least 5 new videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe to our channel.
And don't forget to hit the little bell icon, and that way, every single time we upload a new video, you'll be alerted to it.
We have a tissue over there.
Do you have an issue in need of a tissue?
No, I'm sweating because I've been running around trying to hook up the RV.
As Juju B says, what's that? What's that? Remember that? Like, that was back.
That was a good commercial set.
I loved it.
Lynette said
Lynette.
They are getting ready. They're preparing for the hurricane.
Oh, my gracious. I forget that it is hurricane season.
Yep. She said we're on hurricane prep and watch down in those parts of the southeast Texas.
I am so sorry. Definitely our thoughts and prayers are with you. I just want to write down Lynette's name, so I'm just making sure.
It's not just Lynette.
No,
it's everybody over there on the coast of Texas.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
So welcome to our live stream. Normally we do this on Thursdays, but yesterday was 4th of July.
It was.
So we didn't want to skip a live stream this week, so we pushed it to today.
How was your
you are new here.
Welcome.
Welcome. Our Thursday live streams or our weekly live streams are just a chance to hang out with our community and answer questions. So if you have any questions, mostly regarding keto, but you can ask us anything within reason. Go ahead and type it into the chat box. We'll do our best to get to it. Best thing to do is type question and then whatever your question is, or you can use the super chat function. That's how you can make sure that we actually see it. We try to answer as many as possible, but sometimes we miss them. But when you use that super chat function, it highlights our screen and lets us know that you have a question.
We are flush with leftovers.
It is so hot.
I think everybody is flush with leftovers. 4th of July is one of those things that I'm like, I'm going to get more hot dogs, more hamburgers, make sure like you have enough. Anthony did ribs yesterday.
Yep.
So there is just like meats aplenty around here.
Mark the time and date.
Yep.
I'm going to lower the air conditioner.
Oh my goodness. Y'all. Oh, happy day. Very excited.
Hopefully it doesn't affect the audio too much.
Jen made egg salad with our butter mayo. Thanks for the shout out, Jen, and I hope that your egg salad is delicioso.
Also, I did want to mention thank you very much for everybody's prayers for my mom. She is slowly doing better. It was a rough few days. Every time the bleeding would stop, it would then start again. They would think like, okay, we're good. And they kept rushing her in to get scoped, and she's had a few transfusions, and ends up that they think that some of it is diverticulitis, and which that is a result of age, and also she was taking a lot of NSAIDs as well as turmeric, and like when you're taking a lot of those anti-inflammatories, things like Tylenol, aspirin, Advil.
Baby aspirin.
When you get older, that can cause bouts of diverticulitis. I think they said it's something like 60% when you get over the age of 60.
Yeah.
And so then after they did everything, they discovered that they're like, okay, she's healing. We don't see anything. There's a couple of little loose pus areas, but they're fine. Somebody gave her food. Like one of the doctors allowed her to have food, and then she started bleeding out again. And so right now she's on a liquid diet, and she's pretty much doing keto chow.
She is.
And daily minerals.
And bone broth.
And bone broth.
And like sugar-free Jell-O, because even the stuff that they give at that's just liquid.
What happened? They gave her a bunch of sugar. No, they gave her sugar Jell-O with like 40 grams of carbs.
And her blood pressure.
Her blood pressure shot through the roof soon as they gave it to her.
In a moment, you went from being concerned about her blood pressure being too low to you add, just a little thing of Jell-O and through the roof. And, Terry was sending me, like they were having her do like, here's an orange drink. And it was like the first 4 ingredients were water, sugar, corn syrup, and maltodextrin. I'm like, this really has no business in a place
in an ICU
of healing. She is in the ICU.
Yeah.
Like, why? What nutritional value does this give anybody ever?
And it's interesting because, like, doctors arguing, one doctor being like, it's fine. Another one like, what are you, insane? A woman with a history of bleeding, 85 years old, and just got done with a scope, and why is she not on a liquid diet? So,
well, and a lot like Jen is saying, she says that she has diverticulitis, and the doctor told her to eat lots of fiber.
Yep.
Same thing. And
yeah, when you look it up, and we actually talked to Dr. Berry, when you look it up, they're like high fiber, low fat, no animal products, mostly a vegetable only diet. And why are they telling you to do that? Fiber move things along. But then on the other side, they say you should be avoiding things like spinach and other stuff that would be part of the vegetable diet. And the bottom line is, we all know you can move things along with fat and increased salt.
And I have to say, like,
so Dr. Berry was like, low oxalate, no oxalate keto or carnivore.
That's a very busy man. Dr. Berry is a very busy man. On top of the work that he does, he's raising 2 small children, and he's tending to a farm. And when we reached out in that moment where we were really like scared for our mom, you know, he answered. Yep. And I just want to say that moment is written on my heart forever, and I will always be thankful because, you know, even if somebody doesn't have all the answers, the fact that, like, when you reached out to them at like the scaredest we were, you know, he answered that. Like, that's what a friend does. And I'm so thankful for Dr. Berry. Of course, we love him and appreciate him already, but I just want to share that, like, just what a good person he is. I'm really thankful for him and his friendship, and Miss Nisha's as well.
Okay, let's jump into the chat. Lots of people saying praying for Texas.
Yes.
Oh yeah, Jamie said it's 25 years since that Budweiser What's Up commercial.
What's that?
And Sally's here, said Carolina's in the house. I saw something. Oh, Joanna said her thermometer hit 120 today in the sun. It is been ridiculously hot here.
It has been hot, but like when you get that like thermometer reading, you still shake it. You're like, this can't be true. Is this for real? Like, is it even, do we burst into flames once it gets to this level?
Every time I've been going outside, because we're gonna go away for a couple days in the RV because we have the opportunity, and I keep going back and forth. I've been doing some work out there and hooking some things up, and the air conditioner in your car keeps coming on.
Oh.
Because it's got the overheat protection.
Right.
So if it gets over 100 degrees,
it turns on
to cool down the cabin.
Definitely something that, you know, if you forget that it's doing that while you're in your home. And so I will get back in the car and be like, not as much like energy, like the gas tank is not as full as I thought it was.
Well, that's why I leave it plugged in.
But it's using it.
Yeah, but it's been just, it keeps cooling it down. It is nice to get into a car that's not like blistering hot though.
It has been nice.
Brenda said, so proud of you on RV Unplugged. Thank you very much. It's getting harder for us to watch it. Just because like we didn't know a lot of the stuff that was going on. And so immediately following this, somewhere around 7:15, we're going to premiere our reactions over on our camping channel, Two Crazy Campers. If you're new here, we're in a reality show called RV Unplugged. It's kind of like Survivor for RVers, and you can watch it on RV Unplugged on YouTube. Sally said, I just gifted a half a pound of bacon cheddar grilled. Crack burger on the grill. It was amazing.
That sounds delicious.
Lynette said, I'm drinking Salty Endless Summer flavor for the first time. How would you actually describe this flavor? It's strawberry lemonade.
Yeah, it does taste like a strawberry lemonade to me.
That's what it's supposed to be. Juliana said we had our 4th of July picnic in Arlington watching the fireworks.
I bet there's some beautiful ones there.
Egg Life Wraps for their win. I see a lot of cities are moving away from fireworks and are doing drone shows.
Oh, how
because
cool.
of the noise and everything else.
That seems reasonable.
Because it does affect, especially dogs.
Yeah.
Jamie said, my husband started taking turmeric. Is it a bad idea? I'm not saying it's a bad idea. It was a combination of probably the amount she was taking along with taking a bunch of anti-inflammatories because she's got some arthritis in her knee, along with eating a lot of like fiber and things like that, along with her age. And oh, by the way, in 2001, she had colon cancer, and after being in a colostomy bag for several months, had a major part of her colon removed.
Well,
so it's like
it's all of the things.
A lot of the things combined.
It's kind of like what becomes like your everyday. A lot of, we have shared that Joe is so thankful because of keto, he does not have to utilize pain relieving medicine anymore. You don't have to have that anymore. And you're like, okay, well, that's cool. But it's like, it's not just cool that you don't have to pay for that drug. That drug over years and years and years, it's not good. It's not good to have to take medicine forever, right? And so when she turned like, 60 or so, they start recommending take a baby aspirin every day. Or if you've got an ache or pain, it feels right and reasonable to take, Advil. But if you do that every day for like years upon years, you have to figure that it's going to do something to you.
Yeah.
Right? Even over-the-counter medicine.
Yeah, Candace said Tylenol's not an anti-inflammatory. Yeah, I misspoke. But
it was ibuprofen.
That has acetaminophen, which is another whole thing, especially if you're taking it on a regular basis. Listen, you want to avoid all of those things as much as possible. I remember my kids growing up, and the doctors were always like, here's an antibiotic. Oh, they got a runny nose? Here's an antibiotic. And then I spoke to a couple of doctors, and they're like, listen, we know that antibiotics not doing anything to get rid of the cold, even when it's like a green snotty thing. They give it to them because it makes the mom feel better.
Well,
but what is it doing to your gut biome? And then you develop, antibiotic resistance. And then when you really need them, you can't use them.
So mommy turned 75 this week. And we should sing happy birthday to her, actually. But she had just got back from like a long week of like Disney and Universal with our youngest nephew. And so she was getting in more than 20,000 steps every day. And so, of course, she's sore coming back from that. And so she was like, in the past, I would just be like, well, I'm sore today. My muscles hurt. My legs hurt. Things hurt. And so I'm just going to take a couple of, Advil. And she's like, now I'm like, I'm supposed to hurt after I use these muscles. It's reasonable to hurt. And I think what I'm going to do is just go lay down.
Yeah, just power through it.
Like, just power through it.
Jen, thank you very much for the $5 super
Jen.
chat. I said my order of good ideas should be here on Wednesday. I'm also getting a CGM next week. Should I use the CGM for a few days before drinking the good idea? If you're looking to do some testing with yourself, yes, you want to at least 24 hours before, because you want it to start calibrating itself. The first 24 hours of readings on a CGM tend to not be as accurate. There's Jen's thing with diverticulitis.
And they said like tons of fiber, and it's like, before...
It's to keep things moving.
But you think about that before keto, like, and that's just very new to mom's life. Like, everything the doctor is saying you should be eating, she's been eating. If it was just a matter of like vegetables and more fiber, obviously that's not working, right? Like, obviously that is not the issue, right? Because we're eating what you told, she used to eat for a long time. What you're suggesting eat now to fix it.
Sandra has a good question. Says, when are you guys going to cook and create dishes with Keto Chow?
We have lots.
We have a bunch. and so this is probably not the smartest idea as a content creator. But I honestly, we don't sit around going, what kind of recipe should we create that would be viral or get a bunch of views? When we make a recipe video, it's more of we're sitting around going, I really want this.
Some of this.
How do we make a keto version of it?
Right.
And so we make it. But I really don't sit around trying to go about what could we make next? And it's also why we don't make a lot of the viral recipe videos. Like, I have yet to make the cottage cheese flatbread because I don't miss that. So why bother? I mean, we may make it just because everybody's making it to see what is the, all the hubbub about.
Is it awesome?
But yeah, so when it comes to making a recipe with Keto Chow, if a new flavor comes out, I'll think about like, I wonder if this could do this. or if we want a dessert, I'll start working with things like that. Keto chow is a little difficult to work with when it comes to baking. You usually have to add like some other types of flours, like almond flour or something like that, because it is a casein protein. And the other thing is there's a lot of recipes. Just because we haven't created them, I mean, when you go onto the Keto Chow website look in the recipe cards, there's so many, like, I don't know what else you could possibly do.
The other thing that kind of usually sparks our recipe, like when we think about making new recipes, has to do with someone saying like, I would really like something, but it's cost prohibitive, or I don't know how to prepare it and get the same taste. And that's really where our carnivore chips were born out of, the meat thins were born out of, the pemmican was born out of just people saying like, I would like to enjoy this food, but I don't think I can afford it. And then that sends Joe right to the drawing board.
Yep. Jay's got a good question. Says, do you
Jay.
think that a blood glucose reading of 61 is something to be concerned about? Not if you were following an actual keto protocol. Again, in my opinion. So we are not doctors, nurses, or health professionals. However, if you've got a 61 glucose, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. I wish I could get down into the 70s, but if you've got a 61 glucose, that's amazing. Now, if you're not eating a ketogenic lifestyle, I would start getting concerned when it gets down that low, because again, when you're eating a ketogenic lifestyle, you're fueling your body on ketones. So having a lower glucose is not that big of a deal. But if you're eating a standard American diet, you're relying on that glucose. And so having a low glucose could lead to some low blood sugar events.
Yeah.
Jay said, part 2, I took a reading when my hubby took his. Just out of curiosity, my hubby was very concerned and insisted I eat carbs. No, you do not need to eat carbs. I felt fine, but did eat some macadamia nuts to make him happy. Yeah, and that's fine. It's one reading. Understand this. When it comes to doing glucose readings, whether it be through a stick or even with a CGM, they can be off by as much as 20%.
Right.
Which means you could stick yourself and you have 100 and it could be 80 or it could be 120. Also, you have to think about a lot of other things of what was going on right before you had it, right after you took it.
When was the last time
Did
you
you
ate?
wash your hands? When's the last time you ate? But overall, if you're eating a ketogenic lifestyle, 60 is perfectly fine. And it will probably drop into the 50s
at night
when you're sleeping. Rachel's will routinely drop to about 52, where if she's wearing a CGM, it'll start flashing.
Turn the
Dr.
alerts off.
Boz has done a few videos on this, and so has Dr. Sives. It is not something to worry about if you are eating a ketogenic lifestyle. Again, if you're not, then it's something that I would be concerned with. Joanna said, I've never had any issues in the bathroom since I began keto.
The biggest thing, and my mom has talked about this a lot, is because you're not eating so much waste food, you're not eating food like rice or oatmeal or things that are pasta, elbow macaroni, things that are just filler food. You're not filled up on fillers, therefore you don't have as much waste. Dr. Berry had this fantastic short talking about how people are worried about things rotting in your colon. Can food rot in your colon? Well, yes, but it's not going to be red meat. It's going to be plant matter and things that will decompose, especially when you add the gut bacteria that's going on in your gut. If you're concerned about your colon not having anything residual in it, meat is going to be utilized, and you're not going to have a bunch of vegetation sitting in your colon.
Well, I mean, even if you watch this week's RV Unplugged, there was one point where we were sitting around and Todd started asking everybody about how are your provisions? How's your black tank doing? And ours was doing just great. You had Jack and Shelby who are our black tank's full. If you're not an RV and you don't know what a black tank is where your poop and your pee go.
Yeah.
So you go in the toilet and then it drops into a holding tank, and we call it the black tank. And then your sink water or your shower water goes into a gray tank because that's just soapy water.
So much one.
Right? So the black tank is where the gross stuff goes.
Right.
We only had in that RV, and this one has the same thing. We only had a 40-gallon black tank.
Right.
They have like a 90-gallon black tank, and in 6 days they filled it.
Yeah.
And ours was not even halfway filled after 6 days. Now at the end, it was pretty full. Thank you very much to Liquefied. Right. But I attribute us to not having a fuller black tank.
We don't eat as much waste.
Because when you're eating a mostly meat diet, there is less waste overall. So you probably will poop less. That's fine. It's not constipation. Constipation more than 3 days and pain. But if you're only going once a day or once every other day and you used to going 5 times a day when you were eating a standard American diet, it's because on a standard American diet, there's a lot of waste. And that's why I don't understand the whole idea of eat a lot of vegetables and fiber when you have diverticulitis, because you don't want stuff sitting there.
Right.
But you also don't want to have a lot going on, especially when you just had active bleeds. And then you're going to give her stuff that's just going to run right through you and tear everything back up again.
I don't understand that plan. It was interesting talking to Matt. I don't think that we caught it on video. We'll have to interview him again regarding Liquefied and how, because of the product, he's having to study probably things that he did not anticipate he would have to study in his lifetime. And one of them is the breakdown of waste, because you're using this enzyme to try to break down waste.
And everybody's got different ways. Tony mentioned it.
And he said that it was interesting that people who had like a vegetarian diet, wouldn't always break down carefully. Yeah. And people who ate a lot of junk food, there was a big difference.
It'll break down different.
Even in the smell was interesting.
Christine said, I just realized it's Friday 5 minutes ago. I was binge watching 2KK videos and didn't realize you were live.
Thanks for being
we're
here,
doing it today because we couldn't do it yesterday. Sandy said,
Sandy.
Rachel, you have been that kind of friend to me in the past week. When I messaged you about posting my before photos, your encouraging words really helped. Thank you, bunches.
Thanks, Sandy, for sharing your photos with me. I always treasure that. Like, I really appreciate when anybody sends me a message or photos and just to talk about their story. I feel very honored to be invited into your life.
Kat said, I've decided I like Element better, especially the grapefruit. Yeah, I mean, listen, I like them all. Mm-hmm. People ask us, well, which one do you like? Why do you guys talk about Element, Relight, and Salty?
Because I like them all.
Because I like them all. I like different flavors, Salty doesn't have a grapefruit. I like Redmond's watermelon better than Elements. I mean, I like the chocolate and the caramel better from Salty, except for when we want to eat it like a pixie stick.
Right, and because of the granules. Like, it's a different consistency.
Right, because if we have ice cream, if we make like a keto chow ice cream, I'll take the granulated Element chocolate and sprinkle it across the top because it's like having sprinkles, but it's salt.
Aren't you glad that Keto Chow has never said, I think we've got enough flavors, we're done here? Yeah. I'm so thankful that, like, with every new flavor, every new option, I get excited and I'm happy to try it. And a lot of times it's something I've never thought about before. So it's the same thing with electrolytes. I know I need them, I enjoy them, but I love the variety because all of these different companies have brought different things to the marketplace. And I think that's really cool.
Joanna said, I'm finally watching RV Unplugged. I think I'm up to episode 4.
Neat.
It was the one with the hatchet throwing. I cried along with Rachel.
Thanks, Joanna.
Thank you very much. Deb said, I had a rare migraine yesterday, so cooking hot dogs and hamburgers on the grill tonight. I can't wait.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. That stinks. When you have like a migraine, Caleb really gets plagued with those, and it's just like, I'm out. I'm going to lose all of today because I got to go to bed in a dark room.
Question said, hey, y'all, I just finished a 7-day round of 2 antibiotics, 1 pill, 1 drops, due to a horrible ear infection. Is there something I need to incorporate to help rebuild gut health? I would be making sure that you're consuming some fermented vegetables.
Yeah, like kimchi, sauerkraut,
yogurt.
Yogurt. You can make Joe's yogurt. That can
fermented
help.
Foods are great for gut biome.
Really is.
Sonia said, I've been a subscriber
Sonia.
for years and love watching you guys. It always improves my mood. And Rachel warms my heart with her kindness and love for all. Also loving you guys on RV Unplugged.
Thank you so much. Oh, I love your profile picture, Sonia. Gorgeous.
Sabrina said, baby Aspen calls me to have ulcers.
Because it is something that is like, you take it and you're like, hey, my elbow hurts. But what happens is I am taking it orally and it is going down my esophagus into my stomach, and it has to be in that area. It's not like you can say, hey guys, this aspirin right here, this one is for the elbow. Don't you make it sit in the stomach. It needs to localize and go to the point of the pain. No, more of your body is involved. And yeah, if it sits in your stomach, like, and you're experiencing this over and over again, when you were taking pain medication, you're talking about daily for some years of your life, and it compounds.
Right.
Like, it can't do nothing.
Joanna said, my daughter's doctor said to me when she had a virus, lots of virus and antibiotics won't help, but here's a prescription, idiot.
Right. It's like, it makes you feel like you're being proactive. And I know I was definitely one of those moms that would be like, I wish that I could stop my child's suffering. It makes me sad that my child is sick right now, and I can't help them. I can't make this cold go away right now. Can you do something? And of course, like, giving them an antibiotic, it feels like at least I'm doing something. Yep. But it's like not for every little thing. I mean, I definitely was over giving it to myself and the children.
Penny said my husband was taking ibuprofen for hip pain for so many years, he ended up with strictures in his stomach. Again, now we are not against medication.
No.
But I think we should think twice before taking it. Sometimes you have to take medication.
But sometimes I think sometimes
we do it out of routine. Yeah. Because Jennifer said taking daily NSAIDs caused a severe stomach bleed in my stomach. I went to the ER that night. Doc said if I waited till morning, I wouldn't have survived. My mother either.
Definitely.
So my mother actually, Terry said she had gotten home, said she thought she was bleeding, but she thought she was fine. That's where I get my stubbornness from. My mom is stubborn. I'm stubborn. Wanted to we'll see how it goes in the morning. And Terry said she fell out of bed. And when she went in, she was bleeding. And so that's when they ran into the emergency room. But she wouldn't have made it to the morning.
No. In fact, I believe she's lost half of her blood, like more than 3 times this week. So definitely scary times.
Evelyn said, before keto, I took ibuprofen at a time every 2 hours. Since starting keto, I've taken it on average once a year. Almost 5-year ketoversary, and only taken about 5.
And honestly, it's, of course, we're talking about the health side of it today, but you can also look at it as like the expense side of it. I'm really thankful that I don't have to take Tums all the time, Pepto-Bismol all the time. I'm not having to take Beano. I'm not having to take like all kinds of allergy medicine. It's expensive. It's not just like can do damage to your body over time, especially if you're using it for decades, the same thing. I remember my grandfather had to have like nose spray because he always had like sinus issues. Well, after a while, it was definitely just a habit, and it was an expense, right? So I'm really thankful for not having the expenses that we had before.
Andy said, hey, Joe and Rachel, Andy. Our last day of vacation. We head home tomorrow. Reset starts tomorrow. We walked a ton, but our eating was less than perfect.
Ready
That's okay.
Get back at it.
Lynette said, this morning I booked my Seattle hotel room for the low-carb cruise to Alaska. Who's with me? June. We are.
So excited.
Although, like, I need to book our hotel room because there's allotments for the group. But we're going on pretty much the same cruise, different ship, but close to the same itinerary.
Yes.
The first week of September for Rachel's birthday. And I still have not booked a hotel room.
Or packed your bag.
But we have too much.
I know.
I will say this, though, is you're limited to packing because the ship, we got to be off by like 9:30, and our flight's not till 11:30 at night.
Right.
I'm not toting 4 suitcases around Seattle.
I feel like I have proven that I am up to this challenge.
This one will be interesting because you got to pack in layers.
1 suitcase, and it was a layered suitcase, for a month on the road, friends.
I know, you did so good.
So you're acting like I'm not capable of doing this thing, but I am.
I know you are.
I'm amazing.
You
I don't know if you
amazing.
got the memo about this, husband. Amazing.
Juliana said, today's win, realizing I'm only 6 pounds away from being overweight. Woo-hoo! Summer goal. She had that obese title.
You got
I can
this.
see it on the horizon.
You know what? Don't go to overweight. Go to Wonder Woman, because that's what you are right now. Like, those labels. Like, how dare they call us things like that?
Sean said my sister turns 60 next June. It'll be the same time as the low carb cruise, so I guess we're going to miss that cruise as well, unless she wants to go to Alaska again.
I feel like you could talk her into it. It's like when Joe says you want to go to Disney World, and I'm like, I'm in. That you didn't have to like talk me into it very much. Wasn't hard.
Evelyn said, which keto chocolate flavors are by 2KK? I know caramel macchiato, yep, Irish cream, butterscotch, also chai latte, which I don't think is in stock right now. I don't know I don't know if chai latte is coming back or not.
Let them know if you like it.
It was chai latte. We loved it.
We knew it was going to be
definitely like that was a hard one. There was a lot of back and forth, and Chris going tweak this and tweak that. But we did know that it was like the peach. Like, you either loved it or you hated it.
Yes.
We loved it, but we like that kind of stuff. So Jen said, are there any stevia daddles in this group that want someone to go on a low carb cruise?
Like sugar daddies, but instead of a sugar daddy, she's looking for a stevia daddy, because keto.
Oh, it's daddies.
How cute is that?
I cannot afford to go.
I love that, though. That is so adorable.
Oh, by the way, I wanted to mention, so we did a review of the RX sugar bars. Mm-hmm. They're really good.
They're very good.
We were going to release that video, but when I checked, they're out of stock.
Okay, so you're waiting.
So we're going to wait. There's no sense in getting y'all excited about it. And we've got a cool discount coupon.
Yeah.
But
we're going to wait until...
If they're all out of stock, what's the point?
That's just going to aggravate me. I'm sorry, but...
I'm aggravated right now because I want to order some.
I know. We ordered them the first time and we got them, but it's just... We must have bought them and they just went out of stock.
Yep. Joanna said chai latte is one of my favorites. I think I may have one still.
I love you, Joanna. Bob and Donna said Bob is 74 donated platelets on Saturday, thanks to keto. That's pretty awesome. So 4th of July, my mom turned 75. Can we sing happy birthday to her? You ready?
Yep.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear mommy. Happy birthday to you, and many more, so many more, like 120 more birthdays, please, and then we will renegotiate your contract, ma'am. It's mommy. No regrets.
Are you done?
Yeah, maybe. The end.
Amanda said, I have our hotel booked and one excursion. I'm wildly excited. Only 343 days ago. I really want to do the helicopter excursion.
Yeah, definitely on the
I really want to
list.
do that one. Because we're doing the same cruise this year, we're going to do it next year because all of the research I've done and everybody I've talked to that's done Alaska say you want to do the helicopter to the glacier tour in the spring, not the fall. Because in the fall, it's more mushy, more rainy, more of a chance for it to get canceled.
Oh,
well, because the snow has been melting all summer.
Oh, that makes sense.
And whereas when you go in the spring, it's still not as slushy, I guess is a better word for it.
So Kat said that her mom is going to turn 75 on September 3rd, which is my birthday. How cool is that? And Katie is here, popped in to say hi. Hi, Katie.
Yeah, so we're actually going. Chris and Miriam are coming. After we booked it, they asked if they can jump along with us. So Miriam and Rachel get to celebrate their birthdays together.
And you guys get to hold the purses. Good job.
Really?
Yes, congratulations on that.
You going skydiving, I booked skydiving for you.
Good luck for you.
I did. Okay. I booked skydiving on the ship.
I see your seriousness.
It's got that indoor skydiving
I feel like I could handle that probably. Maybe.
Well, we're going to do that so that you can then go regular skydiving.
Okay.
So that when we get to go back onto RV Unplugged, you said you would have done it for RV Unplugged.
I know, but you're not RV Unplugged. I love you, but you're not
Well,
RV
you should
Unplugged.
prepare for our.
There's not a larger team for me to think about.
Maybe
just
we'll
you.
get just
I can
me.
say
I'm
no
not
to
that,
you.
I'm not that important.
Well, you're very important, but this is not like a life or death situation. It's not like, Rachel, if you jump out of this plane, I will grow hair, and I really want to grow hair. I can't.
Well, I can do that.
I can't make your hair grow.
I can do that.
By
I'll get a bunch of
skydiving.
Rogaine.
I don't want you to do that. Why don't we get you some of that, like where they would spray paint your head?
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
That was Ron Popeil.
I remember my mom looked at my
bought
dad and was like, "No, sir, no."
It was a powder.
Yeah.
What was that stuff called? Who remembers what that stuff was
like
called?
the hairspray.
It was like a spray, but it was really a powder that would stick to your hair, and then you could brush it.
Sonia has a great question. Have we ever
Stop looking up
tried
there.
making the escargot appetizer that we always get on cruises? You're
No.
so right. We need to do that, Sonia. That is freaking brilliant, young lady, because that, I'm writing this down, because yes.
Karen said, what about the RX sugar substitute
Hey, Karen.
sticks? We have them right here.
Yes, we do.
But we haven't.
We haven't done a video on it yet.
We haven't done a video on it. We have them. These are flavored. I opened it up to look at it, but we haven't had any.
Haven't tasted it?
I have no idea what they're like.
So you're going to make it like, what does flavored mean? Like one of them's an iced tea or something? Is it supposed to be like a wannabe Crystal Light situation?
What flavors in here? Sweet tea, fruit punch, lemon, lime, orange, raspberry.
Okay.
Flavored allulose sugar. I don't know. What are you supposed to do with them?
Put it in your water, I would think. Want to try one?
There's no, because then it ruins a video. It doesn't have directions on it. It's just flavored sugar.
So it's got to be that you just... Directions. Consume RX sugar. Swell these sticks like candy.
Like candy.
Oh, pour directly into your mouth or into your hands.
I'm not interested in that.
Okay, so I totally do that already with the Redmond sticks. That's hilarious. Because they have that pixie stick consistency. The Redmond real salt ones, the relights.
Yeah, so we will work on that video. Joanna said, since moving from New Jersey to South Carolina, my allergies are having kinship due to new fauna.
Oh, okay.
So
I'm like flowers and stuff.
I'm still taking an allergy pill.
Yeah, I mean, depending on where you live, we did learn that bee pollen from your very, very local area can sometimes help with that. If you're somebody that suffers with seasonal allergies. And I mean, when I say it's a little bit of bee pollen, it's like a few granules, but they sell the bee pollen.
Yeah, pollen, not honey. You can use honey too, but it's got to be local.
It has to be local. It's not like, hey, I bought really good stuff 2 states away. That may be a flavor thing that you enjoy that flavor, but the bee pollen local is what can really help you if you have allergy issues.
Lynette said, I can't wait to see what your future holds. I can. So much has changed. New RV, being on RV Unplugged, buying land, traveling so much. Is there anything else coming in the near future?
Renovation.
Hope not.
Renovation.
I mean, well, we have Anthony getting married.
Anthony's getting married.
When you decided in January that the motto for this year is pursuit of more in 2024, I'd like to go back and slap you and say no. No. Because this was more than I would have liked for the year. But the timing's right. Listen, here's the thing. When it comes to moving, we've been talking about this for a couple of years. Broward County I love it here. I am going to definitely miss being 15 minutes away from diving. It's probably the only thing I'm going to miss. But it has gotten so ridiculously expensive here. I mean, when you're looking at $7,000 a year for car insurance and you don't have any tickets or accidents in 17 years, something's up.
When you say,
and we really do. We've been wanting to farm for a couple. In fact, when we got married, when we first got married, we were actually looking at property like up in like the Royal Palm Beach area, just like 1 or 2 acres so that we can spread out and have more room. And like, that's what I've always wanted.
There was an issue with the water back then.
There was an issue with the water. Like even Aaron Brockovich was in the area at the time. And also we just started going like, we own a house outright. Why bother with that? And so we just decided to stay where we're at, but it's always been something we've wanted. And now when you see everything going on with meat prices and everything else, it's like it's time to be self-sufficient. And I think that Anthony getting married was kind of a good help for us to be like, okay, now's the time.
A lot has gone on this year, but I got a message this week from somebody who found keto through us being on RV Unplugged and was sharing what's going on in their health and how they have gone from a very bleak situation this year to seeing health momentum and having hope for the first time in a long time. And I think, oh, to God be the glory. I'll stay busy. We will work hard, like whatever has to be done, because yes, sometimes, you're tired and weary, but people are learning how important nutrition is. And if these knuckleheads just being in a place, draws attention to how they can help themselves get healthy and enjoy a fuller, richer life and the things that they're passionate about, like, ooh, that gets me going. I get excited.
There's a gnat.
I know. It's like the journey of Natty Gann in here.
Sean said, talking about medications, what can I give Michelle to have her go on a helicopter excursion? Okay, well, I'll tell you
Whiskey,
what works for me.
Knock her out.
No, I'll tell you what works for me. What does not work is you telling her she needs to do it. That just puts a brick wall up. What you have to do, this is what I did with Rachel. Close your ears.
Okay.
What I do is I find friends that she really loves, and I get them to do it, and then they egg her on, and then she'll do it. For example, she was terrified. If you saw the vlog from the cruise, and I love that little clip, but if you saw the vlog from when we went on the low-carb cruise, she was so terrified to do the zip lining.
I was
like she
very
didn't
upset.
want it. When I booked it, she was like, the only reason I booked it because we thought we were gonna have to do it on RV Unplugged. And so at that point I was like, well, we thought we were gonna have to do it anyway. And so she's like, fine, I'll try it. But then she started having second thoughts, and I did keep giving her outs. I want props for it. I kept telling you, we can cancel even if it's gonna cost us money.
Felt very unfamiliar.
And then she didn't want to do it, but what made her not back out was the fact that she was doing it with Chris and Sarah. If it's me, the answer is no. But when you bring along Chris and Sarah, who are going to be there, it's community. It's exactly what it is. It is community. But if you watch that video, you can see the first time that she gets on it, the face, the sheer panic and fear in your face, and 15 seconds later, it was just seeing this difference because we don't know what to expect. So for example,
you're always scared of the unexpected.
It's funny, like, so if you look at Jack and Shelby from RV Unplugged, they did a behind the scenes on one of their videos on their channel, which they started after RV Unplugged. They talk about that when each one of their kids graduated high school, they jumped out of an airplane.
Wow.
Like, I don't think I could have gotten my kids to do that.
No.
But the whole idea was signifying or symbolizing, like,
there's a lot of
leaving
unknowns.
high school, there is a lot of unknown.
There's a lot of unknown when you were starting keto.
Yeah.
A lot of unknown. I can't guarantee that we're going to stick the landing because you have all of these voices saying like red meat is super dangerous. And then you have people saying like vegetables is where it's at. But then you're like, but the vegetables is not working. Like, you know, it's just, you're hearing all of this and you just have to take a leap of faith at some point when you're trying to do something.
Well, that's what I said about my mom is that like they're saying like high vegetable, high fiber, low fat, no animal foods. And I'm like, okay, so she's been eating animal foods, but she has been eating a high fiber, high vegetable diet, and she had this. So does that work? I mean, it's like, again, definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over,
like
expecting a different result.
Different.
You know, so, but I mean, you look at like Phil. We got to hang out with Phil a week before they did that skydive.
Phil and Stacy from Today is
He
Someday.
was so terrified. Like, I'm not doing this. It was Stacy that pushed him to do it. And then he did it for the show. And he said, even on the plane getting ready to jump out, he didn't want to do it. But the second he went,
he was okay.
It's okay. You know, and I think that that's what happens is we build up worse in our head than it actually is.
I can tell you when we started...
Same thing with you with scuba diving.
Oh my goodness, yes.
You love it. You just struggle with your ears, but once you're down there, you're like, this is awesome.
Please tell me I am not the only person that when you started keto, all you could picture was just like a collection, like a supermarket worth of red meat just sitting in my stomach going nowhere, because I was so afraid of red meat. Like meat in general was so like scary. People had made it so scary that that's all I could picture. Like if I eat a bunch of meat, I am going to die.
So,
and then when I didn't die, it was like, it's kind of like when I get done with scuba diving and what's usually the first thing that I say when we try something new? I didn't die.
Right.
And I felt like that when we started keto.
The only reason you don't dive as much is because you struggle with your ears. But once you're down there, you're like...
I didn't die.
Right.
Keto.
I mean,
I didn't die.
Terrified of sharks, first time you go diving, you land on a shark.
Yeah.
You've been down there with barracudas and stingrays.
But it's always scary.
It's...
I remember when Michelle was in labor with Peyton, and she just looked at me and she goes, we can leave. We could just leave.
And just remember.
Let's just go.
Fear's not from God. It's from the enemy.
And I was like, baby, we can't leave. We have to go through this.
We have to finish.
We have to finish this
I love
project
Jamie.
today.
Jamie, we can start a GoFundMe to have Rachel jump out of a plane to fund the new property. Would you do it for that?
No.
Really?
No.
What if a GoFundMe would pay for our entire
First
property?
First of all, I do not want anybody doing a GoFundMe for
no,
us.
please don't do a GoFundMe for
I
if you want to come help.
Yeah, come on and grab a hammer. but no, I don't think so. I still would be too afraid.
And I do want to say with the property, the only reason we're able to do this is because we bought property that is literally the same amount of money that we paid for this house 8 years ago. So when we sell our house,
debt-free still.
We actually stay debt-free. It's actually worth more than what we pay for this property. But the property is so important to us. We were talking about this yesterday. It is so important for us to be on property and have land and have that ability to
raise some meat.
Be more self-sustainable, that we are going from a traditional sticks and bricks concrete block house to a manufactured home.
And a manufactured home that we cannot afford to replace, and so we have to strip it down to the wood.
Right.
And
like your mom yesterday was saying, like, are you sure you want to do this? I'm like, that's how important the land is for us. Like, if we have to live in the RV, but we have this land,
it's worth it.
It's worth it, you know. And that's, I mean, we're not gonna have a pool. Like, we're not gonna have a garage. We're going to have to get rid of half our stuff because where are we going to put it,
It's interesting how our priorities have shifted thanks to keto and being well and wanting to have that. Like, we're planning to live. We are planning to have a place where we can play with our grandkids. We're planning to have a lot of, 6 acres, that's a lot of walking to just weed eat and, do stuff on. And
I need a tractor.
Never before did we have a plan for our future that was thinking we're going to live long.
Right.
We were trying to
I
make
was
ourselves
thinking about
comfortable
it.
here. We were, for our life, we weren't designing land. We were designing ramps for Joe's wheelchair.
Well, we
That's
thought
what
I would be in a
designing.
wheelchair by the age of 50. And I really didn't think I would live past like 55. And I was thinking about it a few days ago that if you go by the history of the men in my family, I've got less than 10 years.
Yeah.
But I don't think I have less than 10 years because my diet has drastically changed. You had my dad, my grandfather, my opa, all with blood pressure issues. I don't have that. Right. And so I think that eating this lifestyle definitely has helped.
It's changed our plans.
Close to this age, my dad was having knee replacements.
Yes. Yeah.
And here I am with no anti-inflammatories and no painkillers and everything else. But there was a long time where I did not think I would see 55. I'm 55 next year. We're doing a 2KK cruise for my birthday.
Yeah.
And, it's very different now.
But we appreciate it to the extent that we are going to continue eating this way. I feel like every meal we have the opportunity to give thanks. Like, we have better health, and continuing to eat this. Sometimes, you know, you do look and you see, wow, it looks like other people are quote unquote getting away with eating, you know, more stuff, more, you know, sugar or more carbohydrates than me. And sometimes, you know, you think to yourself like, wow, I'm not getting to have what other people are getting to have. But for me, there's such a thankfulness because I am not getting to have what the trajectory of my life was. That course was set. My course has changed in life. I can, you know, like when we were doing the challenge, like riding the bikes, I could hold numbers in my brain. I can count on my brain now. That's a pretty amazing thing that I did not think that I would be able to enjoy.
Joanna said, get some chia seeds. You could be Rachel's chia pet.
Chia.
Kat said, I
killed one of
remember the
those.
commercial, but not the name of the spray. I just looked it up, and it literally was called Spray on Hair in a Can.
Ronco spray on hair in a can.
Spray on Hair. That was what it was called.
And it's like, this is completely
I thought it
fine.
had a better name than that.
Well, I mean, it's to the point.
Oh, no. Okay, so the actual, it was called GLH9. That I remember.
GLH.
It was GLH. Good looking hair. That's what it was.
Hashtag good looking hair.
Yeah, that's
On
what it
my
was.
back.
It was GLH, but critics always referred to it as spray on
Beneath
hair.
my nose, on my upper lip.
Yeah. Oh, Juliana had it. GLH stands for great looking hair.
Great looking hair.
I just looked it up from Ron Popio.
I love it. Do you set it and forget it? Do you just spray it and forget it? Like, is that how it is? Could you have a little headband?
Synergy said, not interested in Pixie Sticks today, have plain ones. Yes. And that's the one that we just bought everything because if I'm going to do a review, we're going to buy it all. So they have single sticks. This is just plain allulose sticks. And so, let's see. One packet is 10 grams, which they're calling 10 carbohydrates, which means I think that's 2 teaspoons.
2 teaspoons full.
Yeah,
I'm with Amanda. That I feel like that was a poorly named product. Like, I feel like you could, how about big hair? Just call it like that. Beautiful hairspray.
Well,
Hairspray.
That's
what you should
I
call
like
it.
GLH.
I need to buy
hair.
more hairspray.
I mean, again,
Hairspray.
I know a lot of people aren't a fan of it, but when you look at Tesla, the models S3, X, and Y,
Sexy.
they specifically are those letters to spell out sexy.
They named it
because
after
Teslas
you.
are sexy.
That's really,
thank you.
That's really neat.
That's
Elon Musk was
that's
thinking of
why
you.
they're named. That's the model S3, X, and Y3 because you couldn't do an E.
Who owns E?
Chevy.
Okay.
But he said because Teslas are sexy. Like I like that kind of stuff.
Do you think that Elon Musk called up Chevy and said, "Can I buy a vowel? I'd like to buy an E, please."
Brandon said, since I cut my carbs, allergies are not a problem anymore. I don't have nearly the allergy attacks that I used to. Mine come from stress. When I have them, it's stress and lack of sleep.
I used to have them all the time, and I feel so bad when you get them because I feel guilty that I don't have that situation going on anymore. But mine must have been more not as stress induced. I get other things from stress.
Sonia said, you guys have a busy and exciting year ahead with new property renovation, along with graduation and upcoming wedding. So happy for y'all. You deserve it. Here's the cool thing is, with the wedding, the only thing we have to really worry about is
not making a fool out of ourselves?
Well, no, is renovating the property. Caleb's graduation, work's done. We just got to show up. Actually, you're going to show up. I'm going to stay for RV Unplugged. Anthony's wedding, we just have to show up.
Just show up.
Right? Like, they're doing a simple wedding, but they're doing all the planning. It's delightful. I guess the benefit of boys.
I know, and I'm fine but I'm there for support. She's gonna have a bridal shower, and so I do like the theme of her bridal shower. So the bridal shower theme is love is brewing because she likes coffee like I do.
Jen said, I'm trying to cut down on my use of aspartame. I now have 50% aspartame and 50% allulose because allulose alone isn't sweet enough. It is helping, but I get a burning sensation in my mouth.
Allulose definitely takes
Make
some
sure
getting
it's
used
pure
to.
allulose.
Yeah.
The problem with allulose is only 70% as sweet as sugar, but a lot of companies still are cutting it with erythritol, which will give you that burning thing in your mouth. Yeah, Patty said the Seattle hotels are stupid expensive. We're actually thinking about for our Alaska trip.
Getting it close to the airport.
We're not landing until like 10:30 at night on the night before the cruise. Whenever you're cruising, always please fly in the day before, so in case there's a problem with your flight.
Still got time to get in.
So we're landing. I can't spend $400 on a hotel to get to my hotel room at midnight, and you're gonna get on the ship at like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. So we're thinking about just staying near the hotel, near the airport, and then taking like an Uber or something. There's got to be some way, but I know we need to get this going. And then, by the way, Patty, check-in is like July 15th. Like you want to stay up in the middle of the night. So I think it's 3 a.m. you can check in. If you check in right, you'll be able to get on the ship by 11 o'clock.
Nice.
And so, yeah.
Poor thing.
But it's 3 a.m. because it's 12 o'clock. Like on an Eastern time, that would be 12 o'clock. So it starts at midnight wherever it's sailing from. So it would be 3 a.m. Eastern time. I should say Eastern time. I'm always assuming everybody's Eastern time.
That's very arrogant of us.
Well, like more than 50% of the country is in Eastern time.
I apologize.
There is a reason. What were we watching yesterday? We were watching a movie yesterday where they were showing the countdown from New Year's Eve. What movie we were watching?
I don't know. I fell asleep pretty early.
We were watching a movie yesterday. It was like a love story kind of thing.
Totally. It's gone. It left.
It doesn't. It was a good movie.
I watched a scary movie
but
with
at
Anthony
the end,
today.
they were watching. It was
cartoons.
with the mom and the daughter.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
So they were watching it, but they lived in California, and so you see where they're watching the ball drop, and it says replay. Because in California, they're watching it at midnight, but it happened 3 hours ago.
I want to say it was on Netflix. It was maybe it was on Prime, but it was with Nicole Kidman, and the love interest is Zac Efron.
Yeah.
Who he is no longer, High School Musical a child. He's like a grown man now.
It was a good movie.
But he hurt himself and had to have some facial surgery. So like I thought, gosh, he reminds me a lot of Zac Efron. But he is Zac Efron. He just had to have like a chin replacement because after an injury of some sort.
Joanna said, we're going to get off in a minute. Joanna said, I was one who truly believed the ADA and such were really concerned with our health. Me too. I believe they wouldn't lie. I was the poster gal for naive no more. Me too.
I was like you, Joanna, when you say they wouldn't lie, but also they couldn't. I thought that it had to be like illegal to lie, right? It had to be that they know that this is the right thing to suggest, right? Like that, it really did. I was so naive. I'm way more naive. I thought the Honey Nut Cheerio bee really did care about Grandpa, but it's a cartoon.
Patty said, looking at the Seattle Port Valet to have your luggage sent straight to the airport won't work for us because our flight is not until the next morning after the cruise. Yeah, I do need to look into that. What I want to do is try to check with Delta because our flight is connecting through Utah, but I know that there's an earlier flight to Utah at 11:30, but it wasn't available as a connection. And since we're gold members, I'm going to call them and be like, I'd rather do my layover. Like, let me get to Utah at 11 o'clock and we'll go hang out with the Bears and then go back to the airport at midnight.
Do we get to go in that Delta room?
Yes.
You know how I feel about that. I don't know why that is like luxury to me, but I really get excited about it.
Rather than getting on the plane at 10 o'clock at night in Seattle and then fly, or it's like 10:30, then fly to Utah and then literally leave from Utah to Florida, we could go to Utah at 11 o'clock in the morning, just hang out with the Bears for a few hours, and then go hit that same 11 o'clock flight that we would be on. But rather than spending those several hours
I trust you
in
to make arrangements.
Seattle, we can spend them in Utah.
Just tell me, Rachel, come on, let's go. That's what I need.
Couple more before we get off. Synergy said, are you thinking of a name for the new place? We haven't come up with one yet.
We haven't. Help us out.
Brandon said, how much land is it coming with? 6.6 acres or 6.06 acres or something like that. So super excited.
Not 6.66 acres.
Yeah, Amanda said you definitely need a tractor. I have more land than I can handle. It costs a lot to have landscapers. Yeah. Yes, we need it. So unfortunately, I have a landscaping business, but Anthony's keeping the mowers. And so I am looking into tractors, but trying to figure out which one to get because we don't want to get the smallest one because then you're going to need it later. but we don't have $35,000 for a tractor. So it's like, but it's like there's so much information out there.
It reminds me of a KitchenAid.
And there's no used ones.
Like looking for tractor stuff, they have so many attachments. It's like, well,
I am geeking out. Like, I know when we buy the tractor, we're going to get it with a bucket and the mower. That's what we're going to get. But I'm looking at, there's a stump grinding attachment, and there's a pallet fork attachment. There is a wood chipper attachment.
So I saw Fargo too many times.
I mean, there are so many. I'm like, ooh, we can get a log splitter. We're not going to split any logs, but there's a log splitter attachment. And I'm like, these are cool. Like, I can see having a line of attachments eventually. Because I got to have all the things.
I can see you being like, baby, we could dig our own graves. We could absolutely.
We could bury ourselves on the property.
Sweetheart, do you want me to dig a grave for you? No. But I can see you getting excited over weird things like that.
Absolutely.
Karen said, is allulose a good substitute for stevia?
Yes. And so stevia, they're both natural. Allulose is a very rare sugar that does not raise glucose and is zero in the glycemic index. Stevia comes from a plant. Stevia, now there's different kinds of stevia, but it can be bitter. A lot of people don't like stevia also because it comes from a plant. Some people have allergies to it. What's really cool about allulose is there's a lot of studies being done on it, and one of the things it does is it can lower your glucose. Also, it can act like a GLP-1, so kind of like Ozempic, but without all the side effects, because it's actually making your body do it. So we're going to get off because we're going to go premiere the RV Unplugged behind the scenes in about 15 minutes. I just need to go set that up. We will be back live on Monday, hopefully, at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We're going to be out on the RV. I booked a site, and I meant to call them and say, I need a site with a clear view of the sky. So I'm going to call them.
May want to check that, friends.
So we'll find something.
Yeah.
We'll find something. But, so we will be back live on Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Adriana wants to know, how's my mom doing? We talked about it at the very beginning. She is slowly recovering.
Please keep her in your prayers.
Please keep her in prayers. She's slowly recovering, but she's got a long, long road to get. Guys, thank you so much. We will see everybody on Monday.
We love you.